Hello everybody, I'm Robert Butler, also known as the Sugar Creek Handyman here in Sugar Land, Texas. Listen, we're going to be doing an installation video of the BEDSLIDE 1000 that I just received from BEDSLIDE, which is an amazing product, and I greatly appreciate BEDSLIDE providing this product to me for hopefully a long time of service that I'll get out of it here in my 2006 Ram 2500 Cummins. We're going to go ahead and go step by step the best I can. This is going to be my first video ever posting on YouTube or posting on anything pretty much. So bear with me. I'm going to go step by step into installing the BEDSLIDE 1000 into a 6'4" or 6'4" inch short bed of a Cummins 2500. So the first thing we need to do is get the bed slide set in the back of your truck. It's really not that difficult to do. The unit is palletized when it comes in on the 18-wheeler, and I just pretty much set it in the bed of my truck by myself. So what you got to do is set it in the back, slide it up to the front. Now I have mine slid back because I do have my holes marked. You want an minimum of 1.5 inch gap between the furthest out portion of your bed. If you do have a spray and bed liner like I do, it's just going to be 1.5 inches from this location here out to the edge of the bed slide, which is going to be right here. That leaves you enough gap in there for any vibration wiggle room, and for if you do have a top rack that's going to go on here. So 1.5 inch gap between the furthest point of your bed out to the bed slide, and then mark your holes. And also, one thing to also remember is have it centered between your wheel wells. I put mine centered wheel wells with 1.5 inches, and I've got my holes marked here, 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 and here. You can't really see it because of my angle, but I'm also, once I get those installed, I'm going to pull the bed back further so I can get to the other install points that are right back here. You're going to need a 1/2 inch drill bit to drill through your bed, and also you're going to receive this box from BEDSLIDE. It's going to have your installation hardware in it. It's going to be a rivnut kit. In the rivnut, you can see you have rivnuts, your washers, your screw hardware, and also you're going to have a tool in there that's going to assist you in getting your rivnut locked into place, which is right here. The description, or correction, the instructions that come with the BEDSLIDE are great, and you can install this by yourself. You shouldn't really need any help with it. If you do, I'm sure there's a buddy or a friend, whoever, next door neighbor, they can give you a hand with it, but really it's cut and dry. One thing to always remember is when you're drilling into your bed is that you don't have anything underneath that drill bit's going to go into. With the Cummins diesel, you have plenty of room between the top of the bed and your fuel tank or any type of fuel lines, so I'm going to be good there. You just want to make sure that when you go through the bed, you don't go, have a really long bit and you're going to go through and hit something vital, a wire harness or anything of that nature, but you shouldn't. In the locations where they're at, your wire harnesses pretty much run over here, so you shouldn't have that problem, but just be cautious of that. Get up underneath the truck and look and see if there's anything underneath there that would obscure your installation, and once you've got that out of the way, then get your drill out and your 1/2 inch drill bit and get to drilling. So as you can see, I do have the bed slid back a pretty good bit. You can get to the front. See, I've got my spots marked with a paint pen. Those are going to be my holes for the rivnut, and also here on the second set, here, and as well as here. At this point, what I would do, I would go ahead and slide the bed forward, get it slid forward, locked into place, and then slide the whole unit back. That way you can gain access to your drilling, because you're not going to be able to drill through the access holes that they have, or the mounting holes that they have. Your 1/2 inch drill bit is going to be a little bit too much for that, and you don't want to mar up your mounting plate. Just go ahead and move it out of the way. That way everything's safe, and you're not going to have any rust points or anything of that nature in the future. And as you can see, you can just when you slide the bed up and have it locked, you can just pull the whole bed and the mounting assembly back, and it will balance pretty much on your tailgate. No need to worry about that. If you do slide it back too far, you can set the rear end of it down on the ground if you feel more comfortable with that. But I'm gonna go ahead and knock these 4 1/2-inch holes out, and I'll be right back. All right, I've got my 4 holes drilled in the bed. Went ahead and touched them up with some paint. Make sure we don't have any rust later. I live down here in Texas, so we don't really have to worry about rust too much, but just to be on the safe side, did touch them up with a little paint. All right, so when you get that done, the next step is going to be go ahead and inserting your rib nuts. Now, in the rib nut kit, or the rib kit, you're going to get 4 rib nuts, 4 screw bolts, 4 washers, and a rib nut tool. Now, according to the instructions state use a 1/2-inch wrench on the rib nut tool. Well, the only problem with that is that I see their bed slide is 1/2-inch and no worky. So it's actually, on my unit that I got, is going to be a 9/16. So just know that the instructions are a little off when it does call for 1/2-inch wrench. So this unit's going to be, or this tool that I got is going to be 9/16. So the next step we're going to go ahead and do, we're going to place the, let me see if I can do this one-handed. We're going to place a screw bolt through the tool, and then we're going to take that and slide it into a rib nut. Now, you don't want to tighten it down too much right now. Just go ahead and snug it a little bit, and that way it should look like that. Now, with that being said, 4 of these are going to be inserted, not in, of course, one hole, of course, but we're going to have 1 in each hole, and each hole is going to be done the same way. And I'll touch on that as soon as I get myself up in the back of the truck with my tools. All right, so made it in the back of the truck. So your rib nut should look like this. The screw bolt inserted through the rib nut tool into the rib nut, and you're just going to place that right in the hole. It should be snug down into the bed. Should be nothing protruding up. Should not look like this. Should be flush with the top of the bed. So these are going to be Allen head screw bolts, and for mine that I did receive, this is going to be a 3/16 Allen for my unit that I have. So I'm not sure if they're going to have bolts in some and Allens in others, or however that works, but the one that I got was 3/16 Allen head. And again, it calls for 1/2-inch for the riv tool, but mine's going to be 9/16. I'm not sure how I'm going to film using both hands. Maybe invest in a holder sometime or another, but I'll be right back after I get this set in place. All right, well, got it installed. As you can see, it is fully compressed against the bottom of the bed. You can see that it is flush with the bed. It's not protruding up, so that means we have a good seat on the rib nut to the bottom of the bed. I will tell you that it is not easy starting it. Once you get it, once you actually get a few rounds on it, maybe 2 rounds of the screw to get that rib nut starting to collapse. Once you get that done, it's golden. It'll go down pretty easy with not much effort at all, and then you'll feel it bottom out and it'll get it really tight. You don't want to over tighten it. You don't want to over compress that rib nut. And once you get done, you just back off your screw and it'll come straight out, and you're on to the next one. Okay, so I figured out how to actually hold my phone up while I have both my hands busy. Since we do have the first one done over here, I'll show you how to get this one here done. Like I said, it's going to be pretty easy. You put your screw bolt through the riv nut tool into the riv nut, and then you're just going to place your riv nut into the bed, and you're going to see that it's flush with the bed. It's not protruding up. There's nothing blocking it underneath the bed, so it's just going to sit flush with the bed or bed liner, whatever you have in your bed. Just make sure that, if I'm not mistaken, this model is not compatible with the plastic inserts bed liners. So if you have spray-in bed liner, it's fine with that, but just not the plastic one. The plastic one probably has too much flex in it and won't hold the riv nut very well. But that's per the manufacturer, I believe, and just keep that in mind. Spray-in bed liner is fine, but we're gonna go ahead and tighten this down and show you how this one here is done. Again, I have 9/16. Put it on there, hold it, and take your 3/16, whichever one it is here, find it, and get to tightening. Like I said, it is a little stout at first until you get that riv nut to break over. Once you get the riv nut to break over, then you just tighten it up. Really, it's quite easy. You actually feel it break over and start to collapse and do its job, and you just tighten it up. Then you're going to feel it snug up, and once you start to feel it snug up, then you know you're not far from being complete in putting that riv nut in. It'd be a lot easier and a lot better if I actually had a 3/16 Allen head socket for my ratchet. That would be probably a lot easier, but I didn't have that handy. I think being a handyman, I would have everything handy, but not all the time. It'd be too handy. You're gonna feel it get snug as it's getting now. It's almost done. Just keep tightening until you can feel it stop turning. All right, so you see it's tight. Let's back off of it. Well, all right, now you're just going to back off and back your screw out. You don't even really have to hold the riv nut tool if you don't feel the need to. Get it out and just unscrew. Just like that. And you can see the riv nut is set in place, flush with the bed, and you're on to the next one. All right, guys and gals, didn't want to bore you with putting all 4 of those riv nuts in, pretty much all done the same way. As you can see, they're just through the bed. Now, I did have a little bit of fun actually with this one right here. A little word of advice. So when you're installing it, and you're noticing that the riv nut actually is spinning and not tightening down, I did a little, just that little bit of frustration, I guess. I put the riv nut in a bind with the wrench, kind of tilted it a little bit, and it got a bite. And once it was had in a little bit of a bind, it couldn't turn anymore, and then it went ahead and collapsed and did its job. But I was starting to have a little bit of issues there with that. but it did collapse down. It did do its job. So if you do find it that it's turning inside your mounting hole, just push down on the wrench a little bit, put it in a bind, and go to tightening down on your screw bolt or whatever comes with your kit, and it'll tighten right on down. Don't be afraid. There's nothing you can hurt with it. Just keep on tightening down, and you'll see that the riv nut is stopped. It's not turning when you're turning the screw bolt, and it'll tighten on down. Just be sure not to leave it in a bind. You need to come on up and give it some little bit, go back to its normal position, and you can continue tightening it down. But if that does happen to you, no biggie, don't worry about it, and it'll tighten on down. And now that I've got all 4 in place, I can go ahead and slide my bed back in and put the mounting bolts in and be ready to mount all of my accessories onto the bed slide. All right, next step. Now that I've got the riv nuts in, slid the bed back in, and then retracted it back, giving me access to the 2 forward screw securing places. So I'm going to go ahead and place this one in. This one over here isn't quite lined up, so I'm going to go ahead and place this one in its spot, and of course not tighten it up all the way, and then I can align it a little bit better after I get that one in. This one, you're not going to use the riv nut tool. You're just going to use the screw bolt that comes with it, and the washer as well that comes with it, and it'll look like this. And you're just going to place it inside and screw it on down. Really, BEDSLIDE has come up with a great system to install their BEDSLIDE system. So I'm not going to tighten it all the way down. Just want a little bit to secure it, so when I do push it back, it's not going to fall out, because I am doing this by myself. And looks like we're lined up with this one now, so we can go ahead and do the same thing. Now, I'm not going to tighten up all of these screws at the same time. I'm going to put them in, get them snug a little bit, and then after that, I'll go back and torque everything down, get it all nice and tight. But I don't want to tighten one down without the other screws in, because well, then you always ask for trouble when that occurs. So go ahead and just snug it up a little bit. And we're going to go ahead and do this one too a little bit more. I know you can probably tell this is my first video ever, so bear with me. Definitely not the, what do I say, internet influencer. So yeah, far from that. So now I've got them tightened up a little bit, not a whole bunch. Just want to go ahead and get access and lined up with my other 2 back here in the back. We're going to do the same thing. You're going to have a washer, and just go ahead and put your screw in, and you go ahead and tighten it down. And these we're going to go ahead and tighten them down pretty good. Not all the way yet, as now, where'd my other screw go? Well, I have definitely been accused of having a screw loose. So let me find this screw, and I'll be right back with you. All right, so now that I officially found my screw that I couldn't find a second ago, I've got them both in the back. We're going to go ahead now and just make sure everything is lined up where it should be, because you do have a little bit of wiggle room on each one. You can shift the bed one way or another. As you can see here, with this screw, it's a little bit further outside, and this one here as well. So I'm not going to have a lot of wiggle room to adjust if I have to, and that's fine, because I've measured 13 times to make sure that my spot, my holes were lined up and the bed was where it was supposed to be. So I'm not really worried about that. And if you're off an eighth of an inch or something of that nature, side to side, you're still going to be fine as long as you have clearance between your wheel wells for everything. And I'm gonna go ahead and tighten these up, and I'll be right back with you. All right, guys and gals, that is the installation of the BEDSLIDE 1000. Just pull. Out she comes. That's simple. Don't be afraid of installing it yourself. It is super easy. The BEDSLIDE has made an amazing product, and I know it will definitely help me in my daily duties as the Sugar Creek handyman here in Sugar Land, Texas. Remember BEDSLIDE, BEDSLIDE.com. They'll get you fixed up. I do have the accessories, the side rails, and some bins to put on, I may make another video as to how that will go on, but right now it looks like I'm good with the BEDSLIDE. I'm loving it so far. I know I haven't not used it yet, but it will definitely make my job easier getting all of my items out of the truck without having to crawl up into the bed and grab it. So I can't wait to use it. Again, thanks to BEDSLIDE, thanks to you having a product that is absolutely amazing. I will let you know another review after I load it up and see what it's like not having to break my back getting up into the bed of the truck to grab my items for my daily jobs that I have. Again, Sugar Creek Handyman right here in Sugar Land, Texas. Thanks for watching.